way of learning English. Ilara often felt a heavy silence when faced with English. Her mind buzzed with vocabulary and grammar rules, yet her tongue remained tied. The idea of speaking, even a simple sentence, triggered a wave of intense anxiety. She dreamed of fluid conversations but stumbled over every single word, feeling utterly overwhelmed by the task ahead of her. She knew the conventional wisdom, way of learning English. But how did one truly begin? The initial step seemed insurmountable, a giant chasm between passive understanding and active communication. Ilara yearned for a clear roadmap, a simple guide to navigate the complex journey of language acquisition, hoping to find her authentic voice. Her tutor suggested a foundational approach: listen and practice. It sounded almost too simplistic, yet its repetition echoed in her ears. Ilara started consuming podcasts, movies, and songs, consciously absorbing the rhythm and intonation of native speakers, attempting to mimic their natural speech patterns every single day. Daily, she would dedicate time to this ritual. She'd repeat phrases aloud, mimicking accents, sometimes feeling foolish, other times a tiny spark of progress. This repetitive cycle, listen and practice, began to etch the sounds and structures deep within her memory, building a crucial phonetic foundation slowly but surely. The true challenge, however, wasn't just understanding, it was speaking. How to learn English wasn't merely about input. It demanded output. Ilara realized that mere listening wouldn't magically unlock her vocal cords. She needed active engagement, a deliberate effort to articulate her thoughts and feelings confidently. The terrifying question loomed: how to take first step for talking? The fear of judgment, of making glaring errors, paralyzed her. Every potential conversation felt like an audition, and she always imagined herself failing spectacularly, leading to embarrassment and a complete loss of her hard-earned confidence. Then came a revelation: English talking practice didn't necessarily require an audience. Her home, her sanctuary, could become her personal language laboratory. The idea seemed revolutionary, a safe space where mistakes were not just permitted but actively encouraged as stepping stones forward. She started with simple monologues. Describing her breakfast, narrating her daily routine, even arguing with an imaginary counterpart. How to talk at home to yourself became her mantra, transforming her living room into a bustling classroom where she was both student and teacher, pushing her boundaries. The mirror became her most patient listener. She practiced eye contact, gestures, and intonation, mimicking fluent speakers she admired. This self-dialogue built confidence, little by little, chipping away at the immense wall of shyness that had previously prevented her from truly expressing herself effectively. This was indeed the best way to learn English for her initial steps. It removed the pressure of external scrutiny, allowing her to experiment freely with words and phrases. The freedom to stumble without embarrassment accelerated her progress exponentially, fostering a more positive learning environment. Yet, inevitable frustrations arose. Why I always make mistakes? This question plagued her during her solo sessions. Despite diligent practice, words often came out jumbled, tenses confused, and prepositions stubbornly misplaced, making her question her intrinsic ability to master the language. She sought advice from online communities, realizing her experience was universal. Mistakes were not failures but vital feedback mechanisms. They highlighted areas for improvement, signposting the specific grammatical structures or vocabulary she needed to revisit and reinforce more effectively. A wise mentor reminded her that fluency wasn't about perfection, but effective communication. Embracing errors, learning from them, and moving forward was the true essence of progress. Each misstep became a stepping stone, not a stumbling block, propelling her journey forward. Parallel to her speaking practice, another powerful tool emerged: reading. Why reading is so important. She initially viewed it as a passive activity, separate from active speaking, but soon discovered its profound impact on her overall language proficiency and confidence. Reading exposed her to diverse sentence structures, rich vocabulary, and nuanced expressions that rarely appeared in everyday conversation. It solidified her understanding of grammar rules, seeing them applied naturally in context, which helped bridge the gap between theory and practical application. From simple children's books to engaging novels, Ilara devoured texts, allowing her mind to absorb the intricate tapestry of the English language. This continuous exposure built an immense passive vocabulary, waiting to be activated through her speaking practice sessions daily. The combination was potent: active listening, brave self-talk, and immersive reading. Each component reinforced the others, creating a virtuous cycle of learning and improvement. Her journey was no longer a solitary, fearful struggle but a dynamic, multifaceted exploration. Her confidence, once a fragile seedling, began to blossom. The fear of external judgment gradually receded as her internal voice grew stronger and more assured. She realized that the most important audience was always herself, her own internal critic. She started trying short conversations with understanding friends, explaining her ongoing journey. These interactions, though initially awkward, provided invaluable real-world practice, allowing her to test her theories and refine her spoken English in a supportive environment. The way of learning English became less about rigid rules and more about adaptive strategies. She learned to tailor her approach to her own learning style, understanding that flexibility was key to long-term success and sustained motivation throughout her progress. She continued to emphasize listen and practice, understanding its foundational importance. It wasn't just for beginners. Even advanced speakers continuously refined their accents and expressions by absorbing native speech patterns and integrating them into their own daily conversations. Every new podcast, every movie, every song was an opportunity for active engagement. She paused, repeated, and even recorded herself to compare her pronunciation with the original, a constant process of refinement and critical self-evaluation for improvement. How to learn English had transformed from a daunting question into a clear, actionable path. It involved consistent effort, self-compassion, and a relentless pursuit of progress over elusive perfection, celebrating small victories along the way. The initial hurdle of how to take first step for talking now seemed distant. She had not only taken the first step but had walked many miles, her stride growing steadier with each passing day. Her voice, once hesitant, now carried a newfound rhythm. Her daily English talking practice sessions at home were non-negotiable. They were her sanctuary, her arena for experimentation, where she could freely articulate complex thoughts without the pressure of an external audience, fostering true linguistic growth. She even started simulating job interviews for complex discussions, imagining various scenarios. How to talk at home to yourself wasn't just for basic practice, it became a powerful tool for preparing for real-life communicative challenges, enhancing her readiness significantly. This self-directed immersion proved to be the best way to learn English for sustained progress. It cultivated an intrinsic motivation, transforming language learning from a chore into a deeply rewarding personal quest, leading to profound long-term results. The question why I always make mistakes now held less power. She understood that mistakes were not weaknesses but rather indispensable learning opportunities, each one a valuable lesson in linguistic precision and idiomatic expression, paving the way for mastery. Instead of feeling discouraged, she viewed errors as signposts pointing toward specific areas requiring more attention. They became her personal curriculum developers, highlighting grammar points or vocabulary gaps that needed reinforcement, guiding her future study. Her understanding of why reading is so important deepened with time. It wasn't just for vocabulary acquisition, it shaped her understanding of cultural nuances, idiomatic expressions, and the subtle rhythms of sophisticated written English prose. Reading widely also expanded her general knowledge, providing her with more topics to discuss during her talking practice sessions. It enriched her content, making her conversations more engaging and informed, a truly powerful and synergistic effect. Ilara realized that the way of learning English was a marathon, not a sprint. Consistency, patience, and a positive mindset were her most valuable assets throughout her arduous linguistic journey, ensuring steady and remarkable progress. She embraced the continuous loop of listen and practice, understanding that fluency was an ongoing process of refinement, not a fixed destination. Every day brought new opportunities to absorb and assimilate more of the language, pushing her boundaries further. The initial fear of how to learn English had evaporated, replaced by a confident curiosity. She approached new linguistic challenges with enthusiasm, knowing she possessed the tools and resilience to overcome them effectively and efficiently every single time. Her first hesitant steps into how to take first step for talking had paved the way for confident public speaking. She no longer shied away from opportunities to use English in real-world settings, actively seeking them out instead. The effectiveness of English talking practice in the privacy of her home was undeniable. It had built an unshakable foundation of self-assurance, allowing her to transition seamlessly from solo practice to authentic interactions with native speakers. How to talk at home to yourself became a cherished habit, a daily ritual that maintained her linguistic agility and prepared her for unexpected conversations. It was her secret weapon for continuous improvement, keeping her skills sharp. She advocated passionately that this integrated approach truly was the best way to learn English. It combined structured learning with organic immersion, tailoring the experience to individual needs, leading to remarkable and sustainable linguistic growth over time. The notion of why I always make mistakes transformed into why I always learn from my mistakes. Each error was a data point, guiding her toward greater accuracy and nuance, accelerating her path to true linguistic mastery. Her journey underscored why reading is so important. It provided the intellectual scaffolding upon which her speaking and listening skills were built, enriching her understanding and enabling deeper, more meaningful communication consistently. She started volunteering for international events, actively seeking out chances to communicate. The very act of pushing herself out of her comfort zone accelerated her progress beyond imagination, leading to incredible leaps in her fluency. The way of learning English she had forged was now her own unique path. It wasn't prescriptive but adaptive, evolving with her needs and challenges, becoming a testament to personalized and effective language acquisition strategies. She continued to preach the gospel of listen and practice, not just passively, but actively engaging with the material, analyzing accents, and mirroring intonation. This deep engagement unlocked higher levels of comprehension and fluency naturally. How to learn English ultimately boiled down to fearless experimentation and persistent dedication. It was about finding joy in the process, celebrating every small victory, and maintaining an insatiable curiosity for the language's intricacies. Her initial struggle with how to take first step for talking was a distant memory. Now, she initiated conversations with ease, engaging strangers in meaningful dialogue, her voice resonating with newfound confidence and clarity, a true transformation. The hours spent on English talking practice at home had paid off magnificently. She could articulate complex ideas, express nuanced emotions, and even engage in witty banter, a testament to her diligent and consistent efforts. How to talk at home to yourself was no longer just a technique, it was an integral part of her identity as a language learner. It was her personal training ground, ensuring her readiness for any real-world linguistic challenge. She often shared her story, inspiring others to believe that the best way to learn English was within their reach. It required courage, consistency, and a willingness to embrace imperfection as a stepping stone to mastery. The paradigm shift from "why I always make mistakes" to "mistakes are my teachers" was profound. It liberated her from self-criticism, allowing her to learn more effectively and enjoy the process of continuous improvement wholeheartedly. She became a vocal advocate for why reading is so important, emphasizing its role in building a robust mental framework for English. It was the silent partner in her journey, constantly enriching her linguistic arsenal. Her journey from timid silence to confident articulation was a powerful narrative. It illustrated that with the right strategies and unwavering dedication, anyone could unlock their English voice and truly thrive in a globalized world. Ilara's experience proved that the way of learning English was deeply personal, yet universally achievable. It wasn't a secret formula but a combination of consistent effort and intelligent practice, yielding significant long-term results successfully. She always advised newcomers to begin with listen and practice, highlighting its crucial role in building foundational phonetic awareness and improving pronunciation skills dramatically from the very beginning of their language journey. She stressed that how to learn English was about incremental gains, celebrating each small victory, rather than waiting for distant perfection. This mindset kept her motivated and resilient through every challenge she faced. And her ultimate advice for how to take first step for talking? Just open your mouth. Start with yourself, talk to the mirror, embrace the stumbles, and trust the process. Your voice deserves to be heard, regardless of perfection.